All right, in just about every video game, you have non-player characters cheering you on, helping you out, being likable or lovable in some way or another, or maybe villainous. Who knows? But every year, we here at Shack News like to pick one non-player character that stands out a cut above the rest to be best NPC of 2022 here at Shack News. And we are going to deliberate that right now. Here we go. Who wants to throw out their nomination first? Bill Lavoie, look at that hand up way quicker than anybody else. I know you were all rushing to get your hand up there, but Bill, cat-like reflexes.
I remember seeing, I don't know where I saw it, but when I started playing Elden Ring earlier this year, I saw a tell of an NPC that was like a thief or a location that was weird things were happening or something, and it didn't really occur to me because I actually was pretty early in the game and I didn't understand most of what was happening in Elden Ring at the time. And so at one point I made my way to a castle. Can't remember the castle's name. I'm sure Sam has it on the tip of his tongue, but what was it?
Stormvale.
I went to Stormvale Castle, and I believe I got pretty far through it, and I had unlocked one of those sites of grace or whatever where you save your game. And I knew of a farming method to farm for armor. I think I was looking for like knight's armor or something like that. So I could like load my game, run down, kill this dude, possibly get his armor. And I started doing that, and I was doing it over and over again. And sometimes he would kill me because I was bad at the game. And I started to notice that when I would go back and pick up my, Sam, what are they called?
Souls.
Sure, souls. They're not, but okay.
Always and forever. Yes.
Anyways, when I would go back and pick up my souls, I was like, that's not how many I dropped. And so I remember one night on Slack, I was getting Sam in here. I was like, Sam, look at this video. This isn't right. Like, I'm actually getting taxed here for some reason, and we didn't know why. And then I remembered, I heard about something going on at this castle, like something funny going on. And when I researched it more, I realized that there is an NPC at Stormvale Castle who you meet before basically you enter it, or as you enter it. And this person follows you around. His name is Gatekeeper Gostock. And follows you around, and you don't really see it, but follows you around and like locks you in rooms with dangerous things. And every time you die, steals these souls from you, a portion of them. So Sam was looking at it, he's like, that's just messed up, man. I don't know what's going on there. Once we figured it out, I went down to where this NPC was and killed him because you don't steal from me. And this dude from my farming had like 30,000 souls on him just from like stealing from me. And one of the coolest things that I have ever seen from an NPC in a video game was that he was just low-key a pickpocket and was actively trying to get me murdered in Stormvale Castle without being like super upfront about it. And no NPC this year has even come close to Gostock being the thief that he is.
That's pretty clever. But you like that guy? You don't think they're a jerk?
No, I killed him. Of course he's a jerk, but that's the most like notable NPC by far. I mean, I can still appreciate his drive, right? Like, he had a plan, he tried to execute it, I respect it. He had to die for that plan, but at the same time, like, hey, that guy, I respect the hustle.
He's
like, you got moxie, kid. I like it, but I'm still gonna murder you.
Yeah, he had to go, but it's just business. It's not personal, just business.
Yeah. All right. Well, fair enough. We have a few other nominations here.
I'll go ahead and go. So apparently we all gathered at the Shacknews water cooler and we decided, hey, so we're going to nominate our favorite character from Splatoon 3, right? And we all agreed. And then suddenly everyone here, like a bunch of people here decided on a character that we're going to talk about shortly. And I'm the only one who decided on Mr. Grizz. And Mr. Grizz is a hoot. I like that guy. So he's basically your guide through Salmon Run. And minor spoiler, he's all over the campaign. But basically, Mr. Grizz he's a walking capitalist cliche. Like he spews out nothing but like a bunch of capitalist jargon, and the way he organically makes it work, I thought he was hilarious. I love that guy. So it's just a short nomination there, but that's my case for Mr. Grizz. I love that dude.
It's just also a giant chonker, like just a big old bushy bear.
The fact that he's a hoot gets my vote instantly because you called him that. He's a hoot. I haven't heard that in years.
So you're saying nobody beats the Grizz?
Nobody beats the Grizz.
Nobody beats me.
All
There you
right.
go, Blaidd. There you go, Blaidd.
Thank you. All right, fair enough. We have but we have another nomination from Splatoon 3. It's Big Man, giant stingray, bro, basically. But man, is he adorable? And I love going into lobbies in Splatoon 3 and seeing the Big Man art that some people make. He's got a lot of fandom behind him, and he's quite popular.
His little big man dance is hilarious too, where he just spins around flailing his arms up and down.
Yeah.
Somebody took that original Team Rocket dynamic, and Big Man is their Meowth. I love it.
I think that's a good analogy. I respect that. Yeah. Big Man's pretty good. And I used to work with a guy, and we all called him Big Man. That was his nickname. So it endears him to me in that sense too, and that he reminds me of the big man that I've had in my life. That sounds really odd, but at any rate, yeah, I'm putting my money on Big Man.
I can really appreciate a character that just looks sleepy all the time, but also tries to look happy, because that is my normal state of being.
Yeah, that's existence nowadays.
That's our entire profession.
Yeah, Big Man is the everyman. As Sam takes a giant sip of.
I will nominate Renala from Elden Ring. Most Souls games do something, something unique, at least with one boss, and there are a few of those examples in Elden Ring. But Renala, first of all, her boss fight is really epic. She is the culmination of exploring one of my favorite areas in that game, this Magic Academy. She's got all of her scribes who are like, I can't remember what I think they're like throwing books at you and things during the fight. But then you beat her, and she's like, all right, fair enough. And she becomes an NPC that you can talk to after that. You use her to respec, whether you want to go in a completely different direction or just kind of sand the rough edges off of your build. I just thought that was pretty cool to have an NPC be like, all right, you won, go big, and just kind of be at your service from there. I thought that was cool. So Renala from Elden Ring.
All right. And let's see. I think we have a couple more nominations to go here. Greg, do you want to speak to your nomination?
Oh yeah, I can mention Ghostbusters again. So like Dan Aykroyd, it's franchise started in 1984, and to see him come back and just really have fun with the character is interesting, because it could go complete opposite way with franchises that are over 30 years old. People can come in and just give me my paycheck, I want to get out of here. But he really does give it his all, and he really does come back to that character of Ray Stantz, and you're convinced it's still Ray Stantz even after 38 years have passed. And it's cool that he still wants to be involved with it, and he still is doing stuff. And although he doesn't really give you anything other than exposition and a couple like long speeches about the good old days, he's still a really fun character just to be there and talk to. Every now and again, he has a couple one-liner clips. So like, I think it deserves a nomination. He probably won't win, but it definitely deserves a nomination for NPC. To see Ray Stantz in a video game is awesome.
All right, and then I think we have one more nomination. Two more. Oh my goodness. All right, let's get him out there. Sam, do you want to go next?
Yeah, I'd love to. So while Kratos has all the muscles, Mimir does a lot of the heavy lifting when it comes to the narrative and filling the silent moments in God of War Ragnarok. He might just be a decapitated head, but the amount of emotion that is able to be portrayed from Mimir to Kratos, to Atreus, to whomever he is talking to throughout the narrative, is a wonderful thing. Just listening to his stories I would look forward to the quiet moments between the combat as I'm either sledding across the ice or rowing between the beaches, just to listen to Mimir's stories about how life used to be, how the realms used to behave, how these mythological people, how they were just kind of people, and they were just some were good, some were bad, some were somewhere in between. I would find myself just I would be right about to arrive at my destination, but Mimir was still talking, so I would stop rowing and I'd sit there and I'd listen to his story. And it takes a lot for a game to have me stop what I'm doing to listen, other than just keep going to get it done. So it's got to be Mimir for me.
I like that Kratos goes from treating Mimir as an annoyance in the first game to treating him as less of an annoyance in this game.
As a brother. Treats him as a brother. Yeah. It's
doesn't just call him head anymore.
He actually looks to Mimir for guidance, and that is huge. So, yeah.
He's also incredibly important because he's exposition in the whole game. He's your exposition. He's very important to that story.
Yeah, but it's not just like exposition in like the sort of the negative sense that exposition is typically used. He offers sort of like valuable insight, and he sort of can help you reflect about what you've just seen, what you've just done, what you've just talked about. Yeah,
I really like that Kratos looks to him as he kind of becomes more and more confused and maybe even desperate to connect with Atreus, as Atreus is forging his own path. Mimir is kind of the one saying, like, you need to let him do this, or you should do that. And I really like that kind of like, big brother, almost parental advice from Mimir to Kratos. Yeah.
All right. Well, and then TJ, you have a nomination as well.
Yes, this character is so like in every From Software game, there usually is at least one or two NPCs that become like your ride or die allies throughout the adventure. For like Dark Souls 1, for a lot of folks, that's Solaire. For Dark Souls 3, that's Siegvard. And I would argue that this character is kind of my ride or die in Elden Ring. I know there's a few options, but Blaidd, the half wolf, he's kind of a completely optional guy that you can just completely miss if you don't know what you're looking for, because he's just he's hanging out on top of some ruins making wolf sounds, and once you hear him, then you go back to the first merchant and tell them about it, and they tell you, oh, you can get him to come down if you have this gesture. And he jumps down, and he's like a 9-foot tall knight with a wolf head and a giant awesome cloak with a giant awesome sword. And he's just the nicest guy that you've met up to that point if you find him. He's the servant of this character named Rainy the Witch, and like getting involved with him like starts you off on her quest, where he's kind of like her protector, but like it gets so much more complex with him because he's like her shadow, but he was given to her by another force to kind of watch her, and so he is immediately constantly in conflict with his desire to protect her and another force's basically leash on him. And it leads he joins you in the fight against Radon if you've met him. He like joins you in underneath the world in that underground cavern. He helps you out so much through the adventure, and as is often the case with From Software characters, he meets a pretty tragic fate, and it was one of the few characters in all of Elden Ring that I googled, like, how do I save this man? I want him to be alive. And I'm sorry for spoilers, but like he is freaking when what comes to pass, I stopped playing the way I played, and I picked up his mantle and kind of picked up where he left off to kind of continue his quest. And I don't think that and I think that goes back to what we talked about with RPG and like playing your way. He changed the trajectory of my quest in Elden Ring. And it's hard to say about like an NPC that actually changes the way I play the game specifically because my bond to them is something I got to respect.
Fair enough. Well, I think we have gotten all the nominations out at this point, so we should move on to the voting round. Air horn, air horn, air horn. All right, you know what? Let's start off with Asif's vote. And I believe Asif voted for Big Man. Let me double check. Yes, indeed, he did. Just an adorable character. Definitely not as scary as the other two hosts of Splatoon 3. Much more adorable. I'm not scared. I'm not scared that Big Man will rip me to shreds and eat my flesh. The other two, I think, would do that. They got fangs and they look angry. All right. Let's see. Sam, who are you voting for?
I'm gonna stick with Mimir, but what TJ said about Blaidd really resonates with me as well. But I've got to stick with Mimir.
Yeah, for the most part, it's interesting. There's 3 different Elden Ring characters and 2 different Splatoon 3 characters nominated this year.
It's a good year for NPCs, man.
It is. It absolutely is. Bill Lavoie.
You know, this is the one category I thought there was no chance I was going to change my mind, but I am going to change my mind and go with TJ, with Blaidd. That's it resonates with me, the idea of essentially becoming so invested in a character in a game that you will essentially create your own adventure within that game just to sort of do right by them or to see their journey through. And I think that's super cool. So yeah, Blaidd.
All right. Ozzy.
I'm gonna stick with Mr. Grizz per my previous memo.
I like that the fandom is basically divided here. TJ.
I'm staying with Blaidd, of course.
All right. Greg Berkelton Burke.
Any NPC that can be described as a hoot has got to be worth it. I'm gonna do Mr. Grizz.
Wow. I thought for sure you'd go with stick with your Ghostbusters nomination.
I have too much
What a
bias with
twist.
Ghostbusters. I can't.
Well, I mean, voting has bias.
Contractually obligated.
Yeah, you're not actually obligated though. You can vote for whoever you want. Donovan, vote for whoever you want.
Blaidd from Elden Ring.
Oh my. Denny.
Yeah, I gotta go with Blaidd too.
Holy cow.
I was waiting to hear some of the other conversations, but he was the front runner for good reason.
All right. David L. Craddock.
Yeah, Elden Ring has so many great NPCs, but I really did enjoy Blaidd's quest line, so I'll go with Blaidd.
All right, Steve.
Going with Big Man.
That's right. Okay, and Morgan had to step out for a moment, but I believe they voted for Renala, right?
That was my. Oh, did they vote for Renala?
Yep.
God.
Yeah, David, you're not the only person that has opinions on things.
I would
See, Louise.
because there are 11 of us here.
Yeah. And you know what? I'm gonna stick with Big Man. I love Big Man. Big Man's great, but he is not the winner. It's Blaidd with 2 D's for a double dose of the pimp hand right there. Blaidd is our best NPC of 2022.
Now, go forth.